Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my first ever Unholy DK guide for any type of Battlegrounds that you can think of. So you're going to go over this build and your stat priorities of the armor and the weapons that you should be getting are going to be good for regular BGs, RPGs, and Battleground Blitz. So first thing that I wanted to cover here was the builds, of course. So I'm currently running this one build. It is going to be the Plaguebringer. Is going to be primarily a heavy dot build. So let's just go ahead and go over the Death Knight tree first. Pretty much the Death Knight tree is pretty much going to be basic from any build that you would go and change. But the only changes that I've really made when coming into this RPG build is that I've spec'd into Wraith Walk, give me more movement, try to chase down targets more. So as we get down into the lower side of it here, so of course going into Blinding Sleet, into Icebound Fortitude, got to get the Anti-Magic Zone, and then so Death's Reach. Definitely need to do this, especially on maps that require flag carriers. Like if you don't want them running out of your range, definitely go Death's Reach. Increase your range of your Death Grip. Asphyxiate is always a great talent to take. Just a nice stun. Of course, as I mentioned before, going into Wraith Walk to get more movement. Death's Echo is definitely a great thing to have. Gives you more stacks of your Death's Advance, Death and Decay, and Death Grip. And then pretty standard down at the bottom going into Empowered Rune Weapon and Abomination Limb. I haven't really thought of any build that could really go into Soul Reaper. I mean, I guess you could use it in a certain sense if you were going more of the Clawing Shadows build. You could unspec your Empowered Rune Weapon and the traits that go down to it to go down into Soul Reaper for more actual burst into killing your target. But over in the Unholy tree is where it gets interesting. So, of course, as I said before, we're going for a full-on dot damage build. So, of course, get your major stuff here at the beginning, and then we'll come over, get Epidemic, Unholy Blight, and continuing pretty much down this left side of the tree. I like using Defile. It gets more AoE damage, especially if everyone stacks up on the flag carrier trying to help them, or on certain points like in domination maps where you have to capture certain points. Adds that additional damage that you're looking for to clear out certain spaces. I chose to go for Ebon Fever, which increases your Virulent Plague damage by 15% over the Bursting Swords. I would say go Bursting Swords if you're going more into the Clawing Shadows build. And then continue going down Pestilence, Death Rod. Definitely go Army of the Dead. Haven't really seen any use for Gargoyle in any of our RPG builds yet. And of course they've also been nerfed pretty heavy since the beginning of Dragonflight, so there's really no use for it. And especially for our 4-set bonus with the Skeletal Mages coming out with our Army of the Dead and our Apocalypse now, Magus of the Dead is pretty much a guaranteed talent point going into this build. So when it comes to the actual PvP talents for this build, I would say 100% of the time you're going to have Doom Burst as well as Necrotic Wounds, but this third one here can be maneuverable here. So Strangulate is definitely a good one, but if you're looking for more raw damage output on targets, I recommend Necromancer's Bargain, which reduces the cooldown of Apocalypse, and instead of summoning your people or summoning your ghouls and your skeletons, you increase the damage of the actual output for more burst damage. Narcotic Aura is also a good thing to take, especially if you notice that groups are definitely grouping up more often, which, as you can read here, all enemies within 8 yards take 4% increased magical damage. So yeah, you can definitely play around with the third one. I just like using Strangulate to use the silence on the healers more often. But yeah. Alright, so let's get into stat priorities. So I'm going to have pretty much a breakdown of the stat priorities coming on the screen now. But the way that I'm going to be building it, I don't have full conquest yet, but once I do, priorities are going to be Mastery 1, Verse 2, and then running Haste as a tertiary stat. And then I also have about 11% speed, which we'll go over when we get to the enchants section here. So as in Unholy DK, when it comes to your 4 set bonus, the pieces that you want to be your set bonuses are your headpiece, your gloves, your pants, your shoulders. So that will be your 4 piece there. Those are what you want to put as your actual set pieces. We have 2 pieces of crafting gear to go over here. So first off, your chest. So the chest piece is going to be the Primal Molten Breastplate. So you're going to craft this in Battleground, and then you want to get the effect of the magical conduit tethers, which basically, as I have it popped up here, you can read it, but basically it's going to give you 270 of a random secondary stat for 10 seconds. And then for each ally that's tethered to the dream, up to two people, the bonus will grow more powerful, but you will embrace it less often. So basically all that's saying is that for 10 seconds you're going to get a random secondary stat, and for each ally up to 2 people, the bonus will grow more powerful if they are near you, but it's going to happen less often if you keep tethering to other people as well. So as far as trinkets, so my trinket recommendation, of course, is the Gladiator's Medallion to get you out of stuns, and then my personal favorite to get is the Aspirant's Insignia. So it's basically a passive equip bonus when all your spells and abilities grant you a chance to get 1,000 primary stat for 20 seconds, which is great for burst windows. My weapon of recommendation is going to be the Greatsword. Gives you a lot of verse mastery. And as Death Knights, of course, we have Rune Forging, and I would say the only Rune Forge that would actually be viable in RBGs would be the Fallen Crusader, which, if you don't know, close this out for a second. Rune of the Fallen Crusader, you engrave your weapon with a rune, that has a chance to heal you for 6% of your maximum health, and increase total strength by 15% for 15 seconds. Alright, now that we have gone over the build, your set bonuses, and what pieces that you should be looking for, let's go over the enchantments for the build here. So the head enchant I do not have yet, I'm still grinding for it, but it will be from the raid. So it will be the raid head enchantment, which gives you a random bonus for depending on what specialization that you go to. I'm also going to be putting all the enchants on screen here so that you can see what you need to go for the certain pieces. But chest going to go sustained strength. Wrists, you're going to get plus 200 speed. Weapon, as I stated before, will be Rune of the Fallen Crusader. Your rings will be plus mastery, or if you wanted to, you could put 1 plus mastery and then another 1 plus versatility, depending on what you want to do. Your boots are going to be the Plains Runner Breeze, giving you increased speed. Legs will be the plus agility, strength, and stamina enchant. And then, yeah, as I said, I'll have them popped up here. But also forgot to mention about the boots here. So this will be your second crafted PvP item here. So you're going to get the effect which says successfully apply loss of control effects to enemy, interrupting an enemy or dispelling any target, increases your primary stat by 550 for 10 seconds. So again, it's just another passive effect to where it will increase the amount of damage in your burst window once it activates. Alright, and then, yeah, so now that we have gone over stat priorities, which pieces of armor will be your actual set pieces, enchants, Now I'm going to show you just like a basic burst window here, like when you're opening up on a big group here. Alright. Alright, so when you have a big group of people, so I'll just show it here. Big group of people here, always going to start with Outbreak, get that dot damage on them. After you get the dot damage on them, drop the file. You're going to use your Unholy Blight, Abomination Limb plus a powered rune weapon, Army of the Dead. Use your Festering Strikes to build up the wounds, Apocalypse, and then Dark Transformation. And that is going to be your burst rotation. And then of course when the file goes down, drop it again. And you just rang out Scourge Strikes to do the massive AoE damage. And as you can see on the bottom left of the screen, I'm already at 7 million damage, just pumping damage in. So I would say major thing is that when you're on cooldown, your main rotation when you're on cooldown will be Festering Strikes to get +6 on your Festering Wounds, popping them with Scourge Strike, and then using your Death Coil whenever you have the opportunity to, and making sure to keep up your Outbreak to keep your plagues up. And so that will do it for the 10.2 Unholy DK rated Battlegrounds and normal Battlegrounds guide for PvP. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.